Hi there, it's Connor. I've been due to do a tank tour on this channel for a while now, and with plans to move pretty soon. I thought it would be smart to do it before I tear all these tanks down. I wanted to go through an update on all my fish, what I'm keeping in the tanks, the equipment I'm using, and then the future plans for each of the tanks. So in total there's 3 tanks. There'll be first my 65G community, my 36-gallon Oranda tank, and then I have a 20-gallon community upstairs. Anyways, starting with the 65-gallon, I did a video about a month ago showing an update on the scape. It's very much was meant to be low tech and more of a functional scape, especially with some of the fish that don't treat plants that well, such as the blood parrots and the clown loaches. But so far, everyone's loving it. I used to have way more hornwort in the back there, but I cleaned some, and some wasn't looking that good, so I got thinned out a bunch, and now I'm just kind of keeping what's still looking good until I move when I redo everything. The scape is meant to be very functional, a big open space, especially for the 2 angelfish I have to swim around, and it's on the opposite side of the filter, so it's calmer water on this side. The blood parrots love the big cave. Used to be more hidden when there's more plants back there, but they love their big cave. And then all the loaches that I have also love caves, so there's a bunch of little caves in there for all of them to hide. This large cave, as intended, very much being the cave, the home of the 2 blood parrots that I have that are growing in size every day now. As far as the fish I'm keeping in here, the aquarium originally started with, the original intention was to keep 6 angelfish. 2 came large already. I already had them when I got this aquarium. The one ended up being very aggressive, so I rehomed him. And then the other large one, I eventually found someone who was interested in him, so I rehomed him eventually. And a few of the smaller ones that I had did pass away, but these are the 2 remaining. They're from Angel Mania, and I did do an unboxing because I actually ordered them online, and I am planning to do a long-term review pretty soon as they're getting pretty close to being fully grown up. Otherwise, the clown loaches I also had before this aquarium, and they've been, although growing slow as they're known for, they've been growing noticeably. This is my largest one, Rita, right here. She's probably about 4 inches right now. When I got her, she was probably maybe 2.5 inches, 3 inches or so. So they are slowly growing. I do have these yo-yo loaches in here too. They were actually originally with my goldfish to clean up some snails. They didn't work out keeping them with my goldfish, so did move them in here. And they've been getting along perfectly great with the clown loaches. I have 7 clown loaches and 6 yo-yo loaches. And then fish that I got maybe 6 to 8 months or so were these blood parrots, 2 blood parrots. I called them Reggie and Rocco over here, and then Reggie right here. I got them, they're just about the same size, and Reggie has grown significantly larger. He's picked up in speed over Rocco quite a bit. They might actually be, Reggie I think is definitely a male, but Rocco might actually be a female. They kind of have mating behaviors and will stay in the cave a lot together. Haven't seen any eggs or anything, but that's kind of my guess. And then lastly, my most recent fish in this aquarium are the polar parrots. Still, I've had them for, over 6 months now. They grew up very nicely. I have a video showing the growth of them in time lapse, which is pretty cool. But especially this one, Shifu, grew up to look very, very cool with like a red tail, a nice neutral hump. So I'm very happy with how these turned out. I think they're fully grown now. Over the last 2 to 3 months, they really haven't seen any growth, but they did grow. I got them in there very small, less than an inch, and they grew to this size within 3 to 4 months. So they did grow pretty quick. But everyone in here is getting along super great. I did have some fish that didn't previously. I had the large angel, which didn't. I also had a rainbow shark, which wasn't really getting along with blood parrots, and I found someone who had a 125 who was interested in him, so I ended up rehoming him. Otherwise, all the fish in here get along absolutely great. As far as the future plans of this tank, I actually really like this functional scape, especially giving the room on this side and having all the caves. The blood parrots especially love the cave, so I think I'll always keep a big cave like that. I am going to keep this tank when I move and not upgrade in size. The only change that I might make is I might put the 2 angels into a 30-gallon to give the rest of these fish some room as they keep growing. And, keep this tank for another year or 2. Based on the size of the clown loaches and yo-yo loaches, they grow pretty slow, so I don't think I'm worried about space in the next year or 2. But I will keep an eye on if they do end up having a big growth spurt, because they will not be able to live their whole life in this tank. All right, so next I have my 36-gallon tank, and this only has my one large Aranda in it right now. I did have another Aranda that I had ordered and had in this tank for a few months, but she unfortunately passed away. This Aranda actually isn't doing the greatest. Like I said, my yo-yo loaches were in here, deal with the snail problem, and they worked out great for a while, but eventually they started to pick on her head, and then we had to remove them, and she actually got an infection on her head, so she's not doing the best. I don't know if we can get her to move around, but she's doing much better now than she was, but we've gone through, over the last 2 or 3 months, probably like 4 or 5 medications, and she is on the up and up, but we're still medicating to hopefully get her back to full strength. She did have quite a few different fungal infections, fin rot, some on her body, some on her wen, and then the worst is on her face. She has, it's very swollen. That's the one we can't get rid of. We got rid of the rest of them, but that one still is just haven't been able to fully get rid of. And you see a little dangly bit on her side of her head. That's where she was actually getting chewed up by the yo-yo loaches a little bit. But there she swims around, so that's very good. There was a period where she wasn't eating, and she was hardly active at all, so she's doing much better now, and she'll eat and everything. So continuing to just see what works and research the best we can. And I plan to do a full video, hopefully soon, once she's better, of everything we did and what I learned. And I actually am keeping the lid open because it does, now that it's warmer in here, we're not fully using the AC yet. And even so with the AC, once it's in the spring to summer area, it can warm up with that tank sitting on it, especially with the light so close to the water. So for a goldfish, we actually usually keep it open in the summer just to keep the temperature, ideally what we wanted, around 72 or so. Then also just to make cleaning much easier while we were medicating her and she was sick. This used to be a planted tank. We used to have plants on both sides with some rocks, and we ended up completely removing them and removing a lot of the sand too, just so we could, when we wanted to clean everything, get it super clean. So that was kind of that. So it's not the nicest looking tank, but that's what happened. The plan is, once we move, is to upgrade her to a 55-gallon. We're actually going to, especially because she's sick, we're going to set up the 55-gallon, move the sponge filters and such so it gets cycled, and then we're just going to go move her right into the tank once it's already set up, so there's no delay. Make the least stress on her as possible. So that is the plan. Probably do a planted of some sort in that tank. Ideally, probably make it easy to clean as well. So, some low maintenance strong plants like Anubias, but not too many, just probably in like a few sections, just so it's still easy to clean. And then the last tank I have here is my 20-gallon water box aquarium. It's another community tank. The only 2 types of fish in here, though, are mollies and then false Julia cories. The mollies are actually hybrids of black and silver mollies. They're actually all born here from fish I had, from silver and black mollies that I had that crossed. And I actually got a bunch more, but I was able to, ended up having way too many, so I was able to rehome a bunch, so that was very good. So now I have about 13 or so, and then 5 of the corridors. The original scape here was meant to be a snowscape. It kind of still is, but I've had a lot of problems with algae in this tank. I think partially is the light is very strong, and I don't have any plants to eat it up. So there's definitely things I could do, but and it was pretty much under control, but once I had to actually go back into the office for work, I kind of let it go, and it's been algaing up very quickly since. It is somewhat clean now, but the rocks have a lot of algae, and especially on the back, I've kind of let it go. Otherwise, the sand looks okay right now. It has looked worse, but keeping it completely white has been difficult, really. I don't think it's possible, but you really need to just keep up on your maintenance very, very often. And otherwise, I think the light, you really need plants for this light. I've only keep it on for like 4 hours a day now, but you can't control the strength. Otherwise, you can make it just blue, but you can't actually control the strength of just the white light. So it does lead to a lot of algae if you don't have plants in there, I found, or CO2 or something. Once I do move, though, the plan is definitely to make this more of a planter tank. I'm not exactly sure what I'll do, debating maybe a jungle look or like an island, so we'll kind of see. I'm not sure yet, but I definitely want to add plants to this. Might actually make it a high-tech plant with or high-tech planter tank with CO2 as well, as I haven't done that before to try that. So that might be the plan. So we'll see. Anyway, that wraps up the current aquariums I'm keeping and the plans for each tank after moving. If you want to follow my move and the updates on these tanks, be sure to subscribe. Anyways, I'll catch everyone in the next video.